Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Plug Into Devon. I am really excited. We have some special guests with us today. We have Jennifer Miller-Smith, who is the Disability Caucus Chair for both the state and Salt Lake County Democratic parties. She's an activist and organizer for disability rights. Sarah Johnson is also with us, and she is the board chair for the Disabled Rights Action Committee. Jennifer, Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Devon.
We're thrilled to have you both. Sarah, tell us a little bit about what the Disabled Rights Action Committee does.
So the Disabled Rights Action Committee was started back in the 90s by Barbara Toomer. The goal of the group was to ensure that all people with disabilities had equal access to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. One of the earliest actions that we performed in was via bus crawl-ons. So UTA now has lifts for every bus and transit line we have, and that's largely because of the work of Barbara Toomer and Disabled Rights Action Committee. So they basically either shut tracks down, they put their wheelchairs on the tracks line, made it so that people couldn't go anywhere, or they would go to a bus stop, and when a bus came and they couldn't get on, they would literally throw themselves out of their wheelchairs and crawl onto the bus to really make the point that it's not acceptable that we have these buses that a large percentage of our population, too many of our population, are not able to utilize. So,
boy, that is courageous work. That is courageous work. I'm so grateful that you'd share that story with us. Jennifer, I think a lot of Americans, a lot of Utahns, are under the impression that the Americans with Disabilities Act solved all the problems. What's your take?
The American Disabilities Act was a starting point. It is turning 30 years old this summer, and the only way to enforce it is through legal action. There's not an ADA police officer. There are two bills, one of them, and they both passed this year. There's a new state procedure to use a series of letters to get compliance voluntarily. And there's a study in the Department of Health to have an ombudsman for these issues and to perhaps use municipal fines for non-compliance. But compliance with the ADA, like, it got better for 15 years, and then it's getting worse.
What are the big gaps? Where are the problems that sadly too many of us overlook?
So with the ADA, we are actually, as a nation, at a 92% non-compliance rate. And a lot of that,
it's more the gaps are where there is accessibility.
Yeah, that seems to be the problem. And I feel that a large part of the problem is just basic education. We still don't have an understanding of what accessibility means. If we have a ramp, we think that that's all we need for accessibility. Well, if you're hard of hearing, if you're blind, if you are ambulatory but can't walk great distances, that's not really going to help you. In fact, I have a harder time with a lot of ramps. They increase the amount of walking I have to do. So if the handicap parking is next to a ramp and the door is far away, that's actually harder for me. Accessibility is very intricate. It's very, there are so many details that we're not looking at that I think the thing we really need is education and a mandatory certification process.
At what point in the process would the certification happen optimally?
Building permits. Stop issuing building permits. Stop issuing business licenses to places that are not accessible.
Yeah. It seems like a pretty simple process to implement.
But it takes a lot of political will.
It does. Where are you making the most and least progress, Jennifer?
I am trying to make my party accessible. That is my number one priority.
Yeah.
I have a small win. You know, we are changing our voting procedures because of the stay home orders. And I got texting included with the phone call voting.
Oh, that's great.
And I pushed for that.
Yes.
And I
because
hope
that makes, that includes a few more people that don't.
It includes people that don't have or can't use something like Zoom,
right,
or Google Meet.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be a good addition, and I won.
Congratulations. Sarah, what about you? What are your initiatives right now?
You know, for Disabled Rights Action Committee, one of our big things is just visibility. And we are seeing a trend in the media right now where we are, for the first time, starting to hear actual stories about people with disabilities told by people with disabilities. There was just a movie that was released on Netflix. You guys can go and watch it right now while you're
Right now.
Right now, it's called Crip Camp. And I think that's a really important thing. Every time I end up going on the news, if I end up in the newspaper, I encourage you to go and read the comments underneath pictures of me. It's alarming to me how many hateful comments are made just based on my disability, based on the way that I look. And that's because, again, people are not used to seeing folks with disabilities. We need to be aware of disabilities. We need to encourage there's that cat, that participation in society, because the more visible something becomes, the more normalized it is. I think that's why we see a lot of hatred towards disability, or a lot of fear around it, is we get nervous around it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Jennifer, what is your superpower?
My superpower is staying angry and persistent until the thing gets fixed.
That's great. What about you, Sarah? What's your superpower?
Oh, I think my superpower is definitely my inability to censor, maybe. I am very honest. I tell it the way it is. If I have to come to you to correct an accessibility issue, I'm usually not very nice about it. If you come to me and ask for my help, I'm much more conciliatory and easy to do.
That's great. Well, I want to thank both of you for taking the time to be with us today. As we wrap up, Jennifer, maybe you would take a minute and tell people how they can learn more about your work, and then we'll give Sarah a chance.
Follow me on Facebook at Jennifer Miller-Smith and on Twitter at JLMS_QKW. I retweet and post a lot of disability issues. Also in my Disability Caucus, I share most of the same things there, but I have more friends on Facebook than I do members of that group. I want to give a second shout out to Crip Camp. It's on Netflix. It was produced by Barack and Michelle Obama. It was at Sundance. It's amazing. And it is pretty tough for people with disabilities right now. Watch for this in the news. How we're being left out of the pandemic planning, how we're being sacrificed.
Yeah, that is an ominous warning. Thank you. Sarah, what about you? How can people learn more about you and your work with the Disabled Rights Action Committee?
Very good, you got it right. You can follow us. Our website address is disabledrightsutah.org. You can reach me at sarah@disabledrightsutah.org if you have any questions or would like to get involved. One of the big things we are in the process of doing right now, we have been trying to put together a 30th birthday party for the ADA. With everything going on around COVID, that has changed the way that we're planning that. And we have actually turned our office into a donation center. We're trying to get those hard to find supplies, hand sanitizer, wipes, N95 masks for our care providers and for our members who need those items. So we do have the ability to help people locate those items. We have also been working with the Salt Lake Valley COVID-19 Mutual Aid Network to make sure that people with disabilities are being taken care of, that if you are unable to make it out to the store, we have a vast network of people that are able to help you out. So please contact us at disabledrightsutah.org. We would be happy to help you out, and make sure to check out the Salt Lake Valley COVID-19 Mutual Aid Network.
Fantastic. Thank you. I want to thank you both, Sarah, Jennifer, for taking the time to be here. And we wish you every success in your efforts to make this world a lot more accessible to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Let's do some good.
I'm Devin Thorpe. For the last 8 years, I've been working full-time to eradicate extreme poverty, improve global health, and fight climate change. I've concluded that the best way for me to continue my work is to run for Congress to represent the people of Utah's 3rd District. In Utah, we have common shared values. Those things unite us. I believe passionately in our ability to come together, and I believe that working together we can solve Utah's problems. I'm Devin Thorpe. I'm a Democrat. I'm running to represent the people of Utah's 3rd District.
I'm Devin Thorpe, a candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.